Actually, then what I'm going to do is tell me when you're ready to roll, because I'm going to turn it. Actually, I'm going to turn it on so we get the logo reveal.
All right, I'm rolling. I could do this with sticks, huh?
Well, okay. I just want to get it real quick. I can already use what you just shot, but if you just want to give me one more take on it. I'm wondering if it's worth shooting something like something, just kind of its profile and all. No, it doesn't really do anything for me. Alright, let me do one other thing. I'm going to turn this off. And why don't we shoot the close-up of the unveil?
For Starlight with an injury
Just one thing. Nobody's in here yet, right? You can go just a little closer for me so you don't see me.
And speed.
Wait a minute. Oh, that should be up.
Speed.
Good. You happy with that? I thought it looked pretty good. And we're going to get people playing them in the back after the press conference anyway, so. But that way, at least I have the close-up of the unveil if I want to cut to it.
Sure.
I've never talked to anybody.
I'm going to take a little bit of exchange words
Right.
right there.
Good morning. My name is Beth Llewellyn, and I am the Director of Corporate Communications for Nintendo. And today I also have a very important role of acting as your tour guide for the immediate future of handheld video gaming, because the Game Boy family has a new addition, a new screen-lighted flip design model we're calling Game Boy Advance SP. This new edition has great pedigree, exactly the same core technology that has made Game Boy Advance the best-selling video game system ever. It's already in the hands of more than 11.5 million Americans a little over a year since launch. But it also contains something brand new. In response to many requests from consumers, we're equipping the SP model with an illuminated display. I'll ask Nintendo's Chris Campbell to do the honors so you can get a close-up look of the new system on the monitor behind me. I think immediately you'll notice two things. First, look at how bright it is. It is gameplay that will stand up to the brightest sunlight or the darkest room. The system features a front light system, not backlit, and it can be easily turned on or off depending on the lighting conditions. And second, how slick it is. It really is the sleekest, most sophisticated Game Boy system ever. And when it's flipped closed, every pocket, every purse, every briefcase will find a corner to hold it. Now let me have Chris take over for a more detailed look at the new Game Boy Advance SP.
Thanks, Beth. I think one of the most important things to start off by pointing out is this is just a really cool piece of electronics. I mean, I'm a gadget guy, and this is a really cool gadget. What Beth was saying is that this is a Game Boy Advance that we have just made smaller and put a flip top on top of it. It has the same screen, it has the same processing power. It's identical in pretty much every way except for a few obvious ones. I'll kind of take you on a quick tour of the system itself. I mean, obviously we have a D-pad here. We have the two A and B buttons, start and select. This button right here controls the front lighting. So if you're in a bright light situation like I am now, you can push this button and you can turn that light off, and that saves your battery. If you're in a low lighting situation like I was at my mother-in-law's over the holiday, you can push that button and it comes on. The shoulder buttons are back here, the L and the R button. We also have we have two ports here. One is for the rechargeable battery adapter that will come with this system. And here's where the game is. And important to point out that since this is the same hardware, it's compatible with all of the Game Boy games that have been released, and that's over 1,000 in North America alone. This right here is the power indicator light. This changes colors when your battery is going low. This is a charge light. And speaking of charge, what really makes this Game Boy special to me, I do a lot of traveling and I'm a Game Boy guy. And so whenever I travel, I have 8 AA batteries and I have my Game Boy and all of my games. I'll be able to get rid of the batteries because we have a rechargeable lithium-ion battery pack in here. You can get 10 hours out of this battery pack with the front light on. You can get about 18 with the front light off, and anything in between depending on how much you use this light. This takes about 3 hours to get a full charge, and we estimate that you can use this for about 3 years, so somewhere around 500 charges. Like I said, it's a cool piece of electronics, but the coolest thing about it is you flip it closed, you can protect the screen. It looks really cool, and at 3.5 by 3.5 inches, at 1 inch wide and only 5 ounces, it's just as easy to drop in your pocket as anything else.
We're unveiling Game Boy Advance SP simultaneously around the world. So we thought you'd like to hear from some of the developers at NCL in Japan, Mr. Okada and Mr. Sugino. As they explained, they've been working on this new model for quite some time to get it just right.
We started development on the Game Boy Advance SP in June of 2000 and currently have a team of approximately 20 people working on the project. To keep costs reasonable on the Game Boy Advance, we had to limit its functionality. But now we thought, let's make a system that would appeal to adult audiences, that had increased functionality at a slightly higher price.
The folding system is something we've always wanted to create, and now with the Game Boy Advance SP, we felt it was time to tackle that challenge. Not only does the folding system promote portability, it also has a secondary benefit of protecting the LCD screen from scratches.
The biggest challenge in creating Game Boy Advance SP was to make it lightweight, thin, and most importantly, durable.
Two of the most important features of the Game Boy Advance SP are the front light system and the new rechargeable battery.
The front lighting of the Game Boy Advance SP is more advantageous than a backlit system because it allows you to play in any lighting condition, whether it's bright or dark.
The Game Boy Advance SP has a dedicated front light switch. If you're playing in a dark room, you simply press the button for better illumination of the screen. I believe the new folding design will appeal especially to the adult audience, but we expect everyone to be able to enjoy the new Game Boy Advance SP.
As our developers indicate, we expect this brighter, lighter new Game Boy Advance SP to have particular appeal to older gamers. For them, we believe the small increase in cost will prove to be a very small price to pay for a great increase in flexibility. Now Game Boy will easily invade more college lectures, subway cars, editorial meetings, and those never-ending client conference calls. Game Boy Advance SP is set to launch on March 23rd in North America at an estimated retail price of $99.95. We are not announcing unit sales targets at this time, but we will closer to launch, which is near the end of our fiscal year. But I can tell you that we expect the same historic sales levels of Game Boy Advance to increase even further. And in a larger sense, we may see a further shift in the dynamics of video gameplay to Game Boy. We don't have any final sales figures yet for 2002, but approximately 30% of all hardware sales were represented by Game Boy Advance. And the new SP model could further shift gameplay in the favor of portability. We do have about 3 dozen prototype systems with us today in the back of the room. So if you want to take these for a test drive, we encourage you to do so. And we also have several final production copies for those of you who'd like to take some photographs, and we'll have those right up here. I'll be around to answer your questions as long as you like. But before we let you go off and play, if there are any questions right now, I'd be happy to answer those at this time. Yes?
How long will you keep producing the original GBA? Will that stay at the current price point?
Yeah, we're currently planning to produce both systems. We see this Game Boy Advance SP as a nice complement to the current Game Boy Advance. And with the approximate $30 difference, we see both selling very well. And at this point, there are no plans to drop the price of the current Game Boy Advance. Yes?
What's the estimated battery life? And does it only use the lithium battery, or can you also use other batteries?
It only uses the lithium-ion battery. And as Chris mentioned, when you're playing, we estimate 10 hours with the light on, 18 hours with the light off. And then the battery itself, we estimate, should last about 3 years. And at this point, we're not planning to sell a replacement. Instead, we'll encourage consumers either to go to Nintendo or through the retailer for replacement. But we're still working on that.
You have a license to replace it?
Not at this point. Yes?
Can you remove the battery or buy an extra battery?
We didn't feel it was necessary. I mean, as you'll see when you look at it, it's kind of screwed in there. But there's no need, especially if it's going to last for anywhere upwards to 3 years. Yes?
What colors is it going to come?
It's going to launch in 2 colors, the platinum, which you see up here, and another color we're calling cobalt, which is more of a metallic blue. And you'll see that in the back for the samples. Yes?
Any intention of introducing specific games for the SP?
Because technically it's the same as the Game Boy Advance, there really isn't any need. What's under the hood there is the same technically, so no plans for that. Yes?
What's the arrival on it? Is it all going down?
We're slowly, it's very close. Japan will launch February 14th. We're March 23rd, and Europe will be about a week or 2 after us. Yes?
What's the size of the screen?
It's exactly the same as Game Boy Advance.
2.9,
2.9.
2.9 inch.
Okay. Yes?
In terms of the screen resolution, is it the same as the original?
Exactly the same. Nothing has changed with the system except for obviously the look, the size, the design, and then the addition of the front light illumination. Yes, in the back?
What does the SP stand for?
Special, because this is a very special system. Any other questions? Well, if there are no other questions, then I know you guys would like to check out the system, because I think that says a lot more than I can. So I'd like to thank you for coming today, and please feel free in the back, and we have some gameplay experts with us, so if you have any questions. And again, if you want to take any photographs, we have a couple systems up here for that. And any questions? Happy to answer them. Thank you again.
I'm not gonna sell. I'm gonna keep it.
Yes, sir.
Keep it in the box.
So I gotta check that out. The power switch is on the other side.
Here we go.
No, because you gotta sign.
Alrighty.
Gets me.
That's how I felt when I became one of the senior people.
And it gets me nothing.
No, you'll be the first one fired because you make more money.
No, I don't. I don't make anything.
Well, I'm actually working just down the street now.
Are you? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm back at Club Planet again.
Oh, really? They're still around?
I've assumed they bought it back from the investors.
Right.
And just assumed my old title.
Cool.
So I'm now
Where's the e-reader? All right.
Who knew?
Same place as the.
It's got to plug in at
I think I am going to split. So I will see you around. Yeah, and we'll hopefully see you in March.
Hell yeah.
Are you going out to see yet?
Well, these are
What? Are you going to see yet?
No, but E3. Yeah. I only got room in the budget for one crazy. Yeah. I got room in the budget for one crazy trip.
Becoming, having game features and you know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, for a gamer, yes. For the casual gamer,
Actually, it's funny you mention that because I'm developing cell phone games, and you do have a point that the cell phone games are more advanced, but I just the fact that it's Nintendo and that carries a lot of weight. The fact that it looks so stylish, I mean, it's sort of iPod-esque in terms of design.
Yes. No, I agree. It almost looks like a bit more like Sony.
Yeah, I mean, from what I learned about the cell phone games, people are going to buy their cell phones primarily to make phone calls. The games are almost the same. We have a unit here that's primarily made for video games, and I think that will be the thrust of it ultimately.
In the portable game market, although they already own it anyway. Gameplay? It's Joe, right? Yeah. Alrighty. Joe, give me your reaction as to what you just saw say with the launch of Game Boy Advance SP.
Well, Game Boy Advance SP, because it's smaller, it's lighter, and I think the most important thing is that it's brighter than the traditional Game Boy Advance. It answers, at least my, what I would have liked to see, in the original product, a really great bright screen, a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. It's something that you can pick up, take anywhere, and I think for Nintendo, getting Game Boy to be more than just what people perceive as a kid's machine, but to have people, pick it up like they used to. Pick it up, use it on the airplane, use it on the train, put it in a briefcase, put it in a purse, even if it's just to play Tetris or it's to play Metroid. There's something there for everyone, but they needed the right piece of hardware. It comes in the right colors that, somebody, 18 and older would want. It's the right shape, it's the right size. And compared to playing a game on a cell phone, I mean, you could play right here behind me, Super Monkey Ball, and you can play that on the Game Boy Advance SP, or you could play it on a little, Sanyo cell phone. I got to tell you, it's a lot better on the Game Boy Advance SP.
Well, what do you think this is going to do for Nintendo in terms of them further owning the portable market?
Well, that's the most important thing. Nintendo owns the portable market, 95% plus share worldwide. And the company knows it can't rest on its laurels. It has to keep innovating. It has to keep providing people with new options. But they're not messing with the formula for success. You still can play every Game Boy Color game. You can play every Game Boy Advance game. You've got that massive software library, but you've got a more updated, more advanced hardware platform on which to do it. And frankly, 10 hours of battery life, for a backlit, or in this case a frontlit screen, is really incredible. I wish my laptop lasted 10 hours. I wish my cell phone lasted 10 hours. So that in itself is a pretty big accomplishment. So yeah, it's the same screen size, it plays the same games, but what they've done under the hood in terms of the power management is really impressive. So I think they're going to show some technological leadership, and they're protecting their market. I don't think they're going to let anybody, even think to come into this market. They're saying this 95% share is ours, and we're going to be proactive in keeping it.
And one last question. Consumers, what do you think their reaction is going to be to the SP?
I think by and large, consumers over the age of, say, 16 have been, lukewarm to Game Boy because they view it as, their little brother or little sister's machine. I think SP is going to help change that. It's never been a question of the software titles. I mean, you've got great titles, Zelda, Four Swords, Metroid Fusion, great titles that older people would want to play, but now they've got kind of a machine you can call your own.
Great. Thank you so much. Awesome job.
Thanks very much.
All right, let's get Beth real quick. Okay. While we're in the interview setup, and then do you believe these guys probably are? But you were comfortable out there. It sounded great.
Did it sound okay? All right.
Sounded good. Everything was good.
All right.
Nice and short and sweet. That's the way I like these press conferences.
Yeah, it was very short.
Tell me, the Game Boy Advance SP that was just launched today, or unveiled today. Why have we, as Nintendo, decided to upgrade the regular Advance, and what kind of benefits to the consumer?
Nintendo today unveiled the new Game Boy Advance SP, and it's a sleeker design. Actually, let me start that again.
Okay.
Nintendo today unveiled the new Game Boy Advance SP, which is a new sleeker look to Game Boy Advance, and it features a new flip screen design and a new illuminated screen, and we think this is going to appeal to gamers of all ages, but particularly older gamers who want that cool new gadget.
What are some of the benefits of SP that you don't get over regular Game Boy Advance?
Game Boy SP is a nice complement to the current Game Boy Advance. It's got a new look with a flip screen design, and it's got a new illumination feature, so the screen lights up, and which makes it wonderful to use in any lighting condition.
You want to talk about extended battery life as well? In that same sound,
Okay.
like the three main benefits of SP.
The Game Boy Advance SP is a wonderful complement to the current Game Boy Advance. We've made a few additions. It has a new sleek design with a flip screen, and it features a new illumination, lighted. Let me start that over again.
Okay. Tell me about the three benefits of Game Boy Advance SP over regular Game Boy Advance.
The new Game Boy Advance SP is a wonderful complement to Game Boy Advance, and it features a couple key improvements, from a flip screen design to an illuminated screen to a new rechargeable lithium-ion battery that will give you extended battery life, whether you're using the light or not.
Good. The overall reason for the launch of SP, and basically I think it's just kind of like enjoying games, and this now allows you to enjoy games in all lighting situations.
Game Boy Advance SP will launch March 23rd in North America, and with this new design and this new illuminated screen, now you can play Game Boy in any lighting condition, whether it's the darkest room or the brightest sunlight.
Good. I like it. Yeah.
It'll be edited in case I sound like a fool, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay.
Absolutely, don't worry about it.
Okay.
What's your reaction to the new Game Boy Advance SP?
I'm really happy. I travel a lot, and so it's been kind of a challenge sometimes to play my Game Boy. It's kind of well suited for planes, but depending on like where you are, the lighting isn't always optimal to play. So this is great. I'm real excited.
What do you think consumers? How do you think consumers are going to react to, some of the new? Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Hold on, Jennifer.
Let me get you a stick.
Yeah, perfect. What was it? Oh, how do you think consumers are going to react to the new stylish design, some of the benefits, the front light, the rechargeable battery?
I think people are going to be real thrilled that it's backlit. That alone is enough to just really stoke people. But I don't think anybody was really expecting the redesign, which is very cool. It looks a lot sleeker, and it's something to brag about with your friends. It's like, yeah, they've got the Game Boy Advance, but you've got like the real elite, like communicator-looking thing. It's really cool.
Who do you think this is going to appeal to in terms of audience?
Geeks. No, I think it's just going to appeal to like hardcore gamers. I mean, I know a lot of people that have really wanted to get a Game Boy Advance, but have kind of like shied away because it's been hard to see. There've been games they want to play, but they haven't been able to play it. I mean, I have a friend that hasn't finished the first Castlevania for it because it's been so dark. So now, I think a lot of people are probably going to lose their minds because everything they wanted to play, they'll be able to now.
And finally, what is this going to do for Nintendo's position in the marketplace? I mean, they already own the handheld market.
They are the handheld market.
Right. How does it kind of further entrench them into the handheld market?
Well, I think on the one hand, it makes it look like they're very reactive to people's needs, which is real important. Because one of the reasons they've been in the position that they've been is because they've been real savvy at reading the market and what people want. And the fact they've been able to do this is really cool. I think overall, it's just going to remind people what they do best.
Perfect. Good. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Corn Robinson all the way.
I'm not even really playing. No, it's like still the intro to the game. I'm just trying to make it run through faster.
I got one and they
The wire stickers out of the sound bag.
Yeah, Pete Evans is the feature back. Pete Evans. Yeah, so far. That's like the backup fullback.
Oh yeah, the mic over there. Just in case.
$25, you got it.
That's Madden.
I should have got it the first time. You were not Madden?
Oh no.
I think as long as I don't get stuffed here, I'll be looking pretty good. Oh, I did get stuffed. We're gonna go back to the shotgun then.
I want to play Madden on the plane.
That's what I'm thinking.
That would be nice, huh?